Hello, everybody. Hi, Karen. Yes, it's rocky for me getting connected as well, as you can obviously see. Don't know what it is. We've been here. So I had to go down from my multi-camera setup to just one camera. So that's what we're going to be using tonight. Oh my gosh. If it's not one thing, it's another. So hold on while I adjust this camera that I've just brought into play here. I really and truly don't understand what's going on with, I don't know, technology is just not a happy camper, it seems like, anymore. Here we go. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's as good as that one's going to get. Hi, Patsy. Hi, Miss Beth. So, tonight, everybody, I'm on the Meridian. I got the Meridian set up, which is the sister machine to the Altair. Meridian is embroidery only, where Altair does embroidery and sewing. So the embroidery screens are exactly alike, but we're going to use some shapes in IQ Designer and create an applique out of them in the hoop tonight. To where I just have one camera that I can use. And it's, boy, howdy, once you're used to doing it one way and you have to jiggle everything around and cope with doing it in a less professional way, it really works my last good nerve. Boy, howdy, it's always something. Oh my goodness. So we're going to get started here in just a second. Let me catch my breath. It took me like 5 tries to get this setup working with YouTube. Okay. Woohoo. So, hope everyone has had a wonderful week. I know have been out of commission for a couple of weeks, and that was just due to some health issues. Everybody, I'm doing much better now. We're back and ready to rock and roll, and things will get better here on out. Woohoo! Okay, so I'm just initializing the embroidery arm on this machine. I hope everyone has had a wonderful couple of weeks. It's been hotter than blue blazes, hasn't it? So, what I'm going to be using tonight, I'm using the 5x7 Baby Lock magnetic hoop. And when I turn this camera around, I'm going to hoop everything, and I'm going to float everything in the hoop. So the only thing I'm actually going to hoop is my stabilizer. And I'm going to float all of my background. I'm going to float my background fabric and appliques. The only thing I will have hooped is my stabilizer. Okay. Hi, Sherry. Oh, Sherry, I know it's hot out there in Oklahoma also. It is just hot everywhere. This is almost 90 degrees here. It's supposed to cool off a little bit, but you know what? I'll believe that when I see it. Okay. Give me a drink of my water. All righty. So I'm going to put my hand over the camera and I'm going to turn this around so that you can see my little work area right here. Here we go. So what I'm going to do, this is a Baby Lock 5x7 magnetic hoop. And you don't have, I could use a regular hoop. I just wanted to use something a little bit different today. And these are the magnets that come, these are the magnets. And what I like about this though, it really grips it well and it's just super easy to use. So I'm just going to put my stabilizer over the hoop. Let me back that up a little bit so you can see the full mill deal. There we go. Maybe up this way a little bit. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now you can see the hoop. Now I'm just going to put my magnets on. And if you see that magnet, there's a little, like an arrow mark right there. Those little arrows go to the center of the hoop. just going to take my time and work my way down this way with it. Those magnets are strong. Strong, strong, strong. Okay. I'm going to take my time so it's not crinkled or anything like that. And we'll come and do the opposite side from there. And remember, this is just stabilizer. This is not a tearaway. This is what is called a no-show mesh. It's nylon. It's one of my preferred stabilizers. I get my best results. And you might be wondering, well, why are you going to float it? Well, one reason for floating fabric in a hoop, it will reduce if you're embroidering and you get a lot of puckers in it. One way to eliminate that is to float your fabric. Or maybe you have fabric that's hard to work with, like fleece, or maybe you're wanting to do a monogram on pre-made clothing, and you would float that in order to do that. Hi, Margaret. Oh, from Nevada. Woohoo. Hi, Allison. Okay, so there it is. I have my stabilizer hooped. That's all I'm going to hoop. So then I'm just going to put it right here. Let me click on that. Here we go. I'm going to put this in attach it to my arm, my embroidery arm. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do for background fabric, I got some black solid black broadcloth. I mean, just black quilting fabric. It's solid black. I just thought this would really show up on camera. And I'm just going to, once I get my design created in IQ, then I'm going to go back to this and we'll float that fabric. Okay. So I'm going to rotate my camera around here. We're going to get that in. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So here, and how I got to there, I'm going to go to IQ Designer. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to touch, and this screen is exactly the same between the Altair and Meridian. If you have the Destiny or maybe the Solaris, you still have these same buttons. They just may be moved up or down on the screen. Okay. But all machines with IQ Designer have these functions that I'm going to be showing tonight. Okay. Trying to get that. Oops. There we go. Some of my mess over there. That's okay. Just a minute. Let's go back this way. There we go. I didn't want to see that much of my mess. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell IQ which hoop I have in the machine. I'm going to touch this little circle and square icon here. That's called the stamp pattern button. And then at the very top, it looks like an embroidery hoop right here where my pointer's at. And I'm going to touch that. And then I'm going to select which hoop I am using. I am using the 5x7, and I'm going to touch OK. So now you see on my main IQ screen there is the outline of my 5x7 area that I can stitch in. So what I'm going to do, I am going to, on this block, I'm actually going to go back to that stamp and pattern menu because I'm going to create an applique. And in IQ Designer, check this out, that first tab right up here, we're not going to worry about these down here. That's another lesson. But it should have this these first two should be highlighted when you first come into IQ Designer and hit that stamp and pattern key. What this is outline. Okay, so there'll be no fill patterns inside of this. So what this is going to do by using this one, This is 30 different shapes that I can use and change the size of. All of these can be an applique. And if I touch the next one over, check it out. Many of these shapes can be used for appliques as well. Look, there's a gingerbread man, a teddy bear, a duck, some really cute hearts. And we're going to do a heart tonight. I just love the hearts on this. But any of these, a lot of these shapes you could use as applique shapes. If we go one more over, then we're getting into things that, like that one could be used as an applique, this leaf right here. But here's the thing, a lot of these can be used just to create embroidery designs, as decorative stitching and all. And we'll go into that in a future lesson. But for tonight, I'm going to use the second menu here. And I'm going to pick this heart right there, and I'm going to touch OK. Now notice, here's my main screen. That heart is much larger than my 5x7 area that I can stitch in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to touch the size button. Go back to that again. It's right there, size. And I'm not going to distort the shape of it. So I'm going to make it smaller. See these 6 boxes? The arrows on this one here all point to the center, so that will make it smaller on all 4 sides equally. This one would make it larger, but I'm going to make it smaller. I'm just going to hold that in. If you look up here, this will preview what size you're going to get. Okay. I'm going to push that down to about right there. That's 3 1/4 by approximately 3 1/4 by 3 1/2, 3.27, 3.59. I'll make that top number exactly 3 1/4 inches. Okay, if I'm happy with that, here I could also move it around in the hoop. See these arrows here? Check it out. I can move it up or down at a diagonal. To get it back centered in the hoop, I just touch that little center button, and that's where I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to click on OK. And next, I want to make sure that it does not stitch out that box. So what I'm going to do is this. These 4 boxes right here are line properties. We know that because if we touch this little one that looks like a page, touch that, and it will say line property right at the top of the screen. Now, it would have stitched a satin stitch around that outside perimeter, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to touch this zigzag with the red line through it. That's a no-sew line. So what that does, I'm going to change it by selecting the fill bucket and touching that outside border line. And now that will not stitch out, okay? I turned that to a no-sew line. Hi, Carol. Hi, Vanessa. So since I turned that into a no-sew line, and now here it is all worked out right there, but guess what? Right now, if I go to stitch this out, I'm not going to have a cutting stitch or anything like that. So if we go to next, I'm going to show us how we can do this. Now that we're at this screen, and this is already going to be a satin stitch, so that would actually be step 3 because there's 3 different steps in creating an applique, okay? So the proper way to do this, I wanted to just show you this step here. We're going to preview it and click on OK. And then we're going to set it and click on OK. And now I have that in my embroidery edit screen. Embroidery edit. If I just wanted to stitch that heart-shaped outline out without creating an applique, I could touch embroidery, and now it would be ready. It's in stitch out mode now, okay? But to create a true 3-step applique process, I'm gonna go back to my home screen, click on OK. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to embroidery. We're gonna go to IQ Designer. There's 2 ways to get to always more than one way to get from point A to point B. Now, what I want to do is this. I want to create my first stitch step of an applique, and that would be for it to stitch out a placement line. Excuse me. And the way to do that, stamp pattern menu. I'm going to select my shape. There's my heart that I selected earlier. Click on OK. And now I want to make sure the outline of that shape is actually a single stitch. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to select the single stitch right there. And since right now it's outlined in black, I want to change the color. I'm going to use red. It's easy to see. I'm going to click on OK because now when I select that line property fill bucket and touch that outline, I'll see it change from black to red. Pretty cool. Now, I also know I needed to size that, and I didn't do it, did I? So I'm going to go back a step, back another step, and now I can get back to sizing it. So I'm going to hit size. We're going to reduce that down to about 3 by 3.5. Close enough. Click on OK. And now I'm going to go back and do my straight stitch in red, fill bucket, touch the outline. I just changed that from a satin stitch to a straight stitch. Don't worry about the color that I chose. Hit next. We're going to save it to our pocket because we're going to use this same shape 2 more times. Save it to the machine and then hit preview. Happy with it? Hit set and OK. Now we're in our embroidery edit screen and look at this. That is my first step. When that stitches out, that will be the placement stitch. Hi, Coralie. And so the next step, once you do a placement stitch, you want to do a tack down stitch. So what we're going to do, we're going to go and we're going to select add. We're still in embroidery edit. Add IQ. Then this little leaf out right up here, we're going to select the pocket out. We're going to pull something out of the pocket from the machine. The file in the upper left corner is the most recent thing that you've saved. This is what we want. I'm going to select that and set. And now I have my exact same shape pulled onto my IQ screen. What I want to do here, though, I want to change the color. So I'm going to go to Line Properties, Settings, Line Property, Straight Stitch, and this time I'm going to select blue and OK. And then I'm going to hit the Line Properties Fill bucket and touch my outline. And it just changed from red to blue, and then hit next. And when you see the preview button, the Solaris does not have that, but the others do. You'll see there's blue with that straight stitch. You do not want a satin stitch here. So in this screen, you could still change that stitch again simply by touching the stitch and selecting which stitch you wanted. There's 2 ways to get into that. So I'm going to just select OK, and then preview, and then OK, and then set, and OK. And now I have 2 steps of my 3-step applique created. Positioning stitch. Oops. Go back one. Just hit OK. Positioning stitch. And then next would be the tack down stitch. There's one more step, and that is the edge finishing stitch. So we're going to select Add, IQ. We're going to go to Pocket, Out, Machine. There's the design we're working with right there, and Set. And now I'm going to go back to Line Properties. And here is where I can get a little more creative. I want to select a different color because here's the reason I'm selecting a different color for each step. That tells the machine to pause after each step is stitched out. If they were all the same color, it would just stitch them all out one after another and never stop so you could position fabric. So that's the point in changing each step to a different thread color. You're actually telling the machine to stop and wait for you to tell it to start again. This time I'll select green. It could be any color, just a different color. Now, what do I want for my edge stitching? Traditional satin stitch. I could do candle wicking, or I could do a chain stitch. So I am going to select one of my favorites, and that's the chain stitch. And we'll make it, it'll be different than what you might normally see. Chain stitch is a beautiful stitch. I love this stitch. Select OK. We're going to touch the line property fill bucket. Looks like a little paint bucket there. And touch that red outline. It'll change from red to green. It just did. Now we're going to touch next. And when we hit that preview, you'll see there's my chain stitch. Preview and OK. And now I'm going to bring the camera closer so you can see it. But you'll see that chain stitch, a preview of that chain stitch on your screen. Get it to focus in. There we go. There's that beautiful chain stitch. That will cover up all the raw edges of our raw edge applique. So let me get this back. Then we're going to hit set and OK. And now, if you'll look here, we're in embroidery edit, and here are my 3 steps. Positioning stitch, tack down stitch, finishing stitch. We're ready to create our applique. So what I'm going to do is go and touch the embroidery. This is embroidery stitch out mode, but I have to float fabric yet. So I'm going to go up here and touch layout. And you see this one that looks like a picture frame with a flower in it. That is a basting stitch. So I'm going to touch that, and look here on my screen, it just added a square right around that heart that's going to be our applique. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rotate this camera so you can see the hoop. And I'm just going to loosely center this fabric right on top of my, I'm not going to hoop it. That we are going to baste it to the stabilizer. Let me get my machine threaded. Let's see here. I think we'll use this fabric right here for this applique. Let me put some thread in it. Get that machine threaded. It is threaded. Now then, now that I have thread going, all I'm going to do is have it start, and it is going to do that square, and that's going to be my basting stitch, everybody. So check it out. Here we go. Lower the presser foot, hit the start button. Here's my basting stitch. This will attach the fabric to the stabilizer. Even though my fabric is not hooped, Yep. And hold on just a second. And maybe I don't have a bobbin in it. Let's see here. I'm just going to have it do that step again. Trim that thread. There we go. So I'm just going to have it do that again, everybody. Here we go. There we go. But this is one method to reduce any type of puckering when you're doing embroidery, is by floating your fabric. Okay. So next, what it's going to do, now look over here. There's the red one. That is going to be my placement stitch. So we're going to stitch out our placement stitch. Yes, I think right now everybody is having internet problems all the way around. I don't know what's going on with everyone's internet, but boy, howdy, it's not fun having to deal with it. I know, everybody. We've all had our share of those type of issues. So there's our placement stitch. And what that does, that shows us we have to make sure that outline of our shape is covered in fabric. So maybe you're going to use scraps. You could use scraps. This is a 5-inch square of fabric. I just put it on, made sure my stitching was covered. And next we're going to do our tack down stitch. So we're going to lower that foot, hit that start button, and let that stitch down. No, Sherry, I did not put the basting stitch down in IQ. That is done in your embroidery stitch out screen. I'll show you that again here in a minute. But no, I do not put the box around it in IQ. So now we've done our tack down stitch. Now we have to trim out our excess fabric. Let's take this out. I'm just going to trim it right up close to the stitching. There we go. Now then, once I'm done with this, I'll just rip out the basting stitch around the outside edge of that. But there it is. There's our heart. And we're going to put it back in the machine, rehoop it. And now there's only one stitch left. We are going to, we're just going to stitch down our finishing stitch and cover that raw edge. Check it out here on my screen. That's the chain stitch. I'm going to get that closer so you can see that one stitching out. We're just going to lower our presser foot and press that start button. And then we'll stitch out our finishing stitch around the edge of the fabric. But if you've never used that chain stitch and applique, you should check it out. It really gives it a really vintage look. I like how it looks. It adds a lot of texture. It's really pretty. Well, Sherry, what it will do, it will adjust the size of the square for whatever the size of your stitch out, because that's what you want for it to stabilize the fabric around the area you're going to be sewing on. I think you're asking if I can make it stitch out 5 by 7 with that basting button, and the short answer to that is no. There's other ways to do it, but you're not going to be able to determine the length of your stitch as easily. Oh, Christina, I love those snips also. I had to go get those. That's what I keep on my long arm to trim threads with. But they're also really great for applique. And these are my tulip pink snips. As you can see, it's just going busy, 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 busy. Try to get you a closer look at that. It really is a beautiful stitch. It's one of my, I know the tried and true method. A lot of people use a plain satin stitch, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I love this stitch. It is awesome. Karen, I've never seen the machine slow down just because it's got the 5 by 7 magnetic hoop. My answer to that would be no. And I haven't slowed down the embroidery speed. I let the machine just decide whether to slow it down or not. But as you can see, it is now complete. It was that easy. It was that easy to make an applique with built-in shapes that are in these machines. It's so easy to do. Let me take this out of the hoop here. I'm gonna get you a close-up look at that stitch here. Oh, my lights are really making that. It's really got a beautiful texture. There we go. There we go. See how beautiful that is? It's a chain stitch. And I think it's lovely around an applique. I really do. So, just to take it out, you could also use this method and do it with a tearaway stabilizer if you choose to. Totally up to you. Just going to take these off. Here we go. But look, you can see the texture around that applique. It's really vintage looking. Hi, Stephanie. Okay. And then, of course, all you would do as far as that basting stitch, and they're big stitches. I mean, check it out. Look how big that stitch is. That's one stitch. I just set that into. Margaret, I leave my machine turned all the way up because even though, and by that I mean it's at 1,050 stitches per minute, depending on a design, let's say you're using Anita or OESD or some of the designs, the way they're digitized will automatically slow a machine up, regardless what you have that speed set to. The only time I slow down my embroidery speed on the machine is if I'm using a tricky thread, such as a metallic, and then I'll turn that number down to about 600. But rarely do I touch the speed setting on my machine in embroidery. I find there's really no need to. Now, let's see. Karen, yes, with that big magnetic hoop for the 714 by the Solaris, the machine will automatically slow it up because that is a big, heavy hoop. Same way with that 10 by 10. Those are super large hoops. And yes, it's built into the machine to automatically adjust the speed. With this 5 by 7, it's a very lightweight hoop. It's one of my favorite hoops. And it does it just as fast, whether it's magnetic or the standard 5 by 7 hoop. No difference. Here you can see that was just easy to do. I just picked those out. Blah, blah, blah. Then all I would do in this case is just trim this. This was actually a fusible um, sew-in stabilizer. I could have done that if I wanted to, but I was just wanted to show this technique about floating because a lot of people, I find some people are just afraid to do it. Now I'm just going to trim away the excess stabilizer. There we go. Now tonight I thought I'd be able to hook it, get everything running like before when I could switch between 3 different cameras, and boy howdy, YouTube was not having it tonight, so I had to reconfigure everything. That's why I got a little bit of a late start because it just would not allow me to do that tonight for whatever reason. I'm not even going to try to figure it out anymore because it seems I don't know what's up with that. I really don't. It is what it is. You have to look at it like an adventure and just enjoy the ride. Is how I try to look at it. It is what it is. Let me finish trimming this. Come on, you. Oh, that magnetic hoop was grabbing these big, heavy metal scissors, is what it was. We set that to the side. There we go. Okay. You might be thinking, gosh, that's a lot of stabilizer to throw away. Well, I'm not going to throw it away. Because one reason I like to use this sew-in stabilizer, you can stitch these pieces together and reuse it. Because that's what it is. It's a sewn-in stabilizer. It doesn't dissolve or anything like that. But that means if you have scraps, you can sew those scraps together, hoop it, and reuse it. So you have much less wastage with a sew-in stabilizer as opposed to a tearaway. I'd rather use a tearaway. It's faster and easier, but I don't like having to waste stuff either. That's just me. There we go. And then we have, shake those threads off. Here we go. Now we have our little stabilizer, our little heart, our little applique heart on black fabric. There we go. That's a better view of it. Wonderful, Judy. Like minds. Okay, now, where is the basting? How to turn on that basting box? You might be thinking again. Let me show you how to do that. Let me clean up my mess here. Go back to this. Click on OK. Now, I'm going to go back to embroidery edit. You know your embroidery edit when you have, oops, back it up a little bit more here. There we go. Okay, embroidery edit. Go to it, embroidery stitch out mode, touch layout, see that little box right here. Looks like a frame around a flower. That is how you activate and deactivate the basting stitch. If I touch it again, my basting box went away. Okay. If I touch it so it's highlighted, it adds that basting box. It's that easy. After you have your whatever you're going to embroidery is on your screen, it will adjust the size of that box. So it's because you wouldn't want to baste down the whole hoop for something that's small like that, because it would stand a better chance of slippage or getting puckers in it. This way you don't get any puckers. Okay, hope that made sense. Okay. Then, let's see here. Oh, I was going to switch to my face camera, but I just have to turn this one around. Oh my goodness. There we go. Okay. Woohoo. Yeah, it's really aggravating to me when stuff like technical stuff like this happens, because I have these cameras set up at certain angles to give you all the best view of everything. And then I have a keypad that I can just switch from one camera to the next. And I haven't been able to do that for a while because of technical issues. Blah, blah, blah. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so let's see here. Let me move this, get a little more slack in the cord on this one. Okay. There we go. Okay. Yes, I've been having some minor vision issues, everybody, again. So I know that means I'll probably have to have another eye surgery at some point over the next month or two. I'm going to try to wait until after the traveling I have to do in August and September and October is over with before I do another one. But I've also got what is called, I'll never say it, seborrheic dermatitis or whatever. So I'm really self-conscious about it. I don't mind sharing this journey, but you get red. It's not psoriasis, but I went to a dermatologist and the medication is helping with it, but I'll have these red blotches on my face and it's really rough and itchy and stuff, but it's a form of dermatitis. It's not contagious or anything. It's just kind of embarrassing. That's all. But it's really bad right up in here. Then on one of my ears is where I have it at. And when it's flared up, it is super gross looking, and I will not be in front of a camera when that is happening. It's just the way it's going to be. Whew, okay. Oh, Racer, you're right on time, girl. You're good. Yeah, but that's how easy, everybody. If you have one of these machines with IQ Designer, or its equivalent, if it's another brand of machine has something similar to it, but all those shapes under the stamp and pattern icon, you can easily create appliques with those, and you can size them small or large or however you'd like to do that. And it makes it super easy to do that, to make an applique with these machines. You saw how easy that was. And an even easier way to do that is if you have digitizing software such as Palette, or any of them will do it. Any digitizing software will do it. I use Palette, but it's really super easy. If you're really into applique and you want to create your own stuff, you might want to think about digitizing software because it makes it super easy to do. And whenever you buy any type of embroidery design or applique design, it has not been done on the screen with IQ. It has always been done. That is always done in digitizing software. Oh, no worries, Sherry. Oh, Christina, I've already had that done 3 times with the needle shots in the eyeball. It sounds painful and gross, but really, that's not the bad part about eye surgery. Trust me. No, that was not the painful part. Yes, Karen, getting old, sometimes it bites. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be young again unless I could retain all my life experience and knowledge. That'd be the only way I would ever agree to it. But no, I tell you, it just seems like once you hit a certain age, it's just something new to have to deal with every year, is what I'm discovering. It's all good, though. It's all good. We all go through it. Oh, thank you, Margaret. Oh, it'll be okay, Christina. It'll be okay. The first eye surgery I was hard for me to get through. The second one was a little easier. The third one was nah, whatever. The same way will be with this. I just want to get through what I have my travel schedule for this fall season before I have another one. Absolutely, Karen. And I tell you what, I've also come to the realization I'd rather have the cold and the snow than the 100-degree heat. I'm just saying. Patsy, I feel the same way you do about that. People say, well, why don't I've had people say, gosh, you're getting gray. Why don't you dye your hair? And I say, why? I've earned every one of those gray hairs. I'm proud of each and every one of those things. I remember my mother, God rest her soul, when she started going gray, she would use, this was many decades ago, everybody. But she used something called a henna rinse on her hair or something. I don't even know if they still make that stuff. But that's how she covered up her gray. She didn't really dye her hair with permanent dyes or anything. But she would use an auburn. She was Irish. She had red hair. She used dark red. She used an auburn henna wash to help soften those gray hairs up, so to speak. What I'm doing, I'm reputting the cardboard in between the magnets and that hoop, because if you've ever used a magnetic hoop, everybody, you don't want to put the metal contacts right on top of each other because they're extremely difficult to pry loose. If nothing else, check this out. See that? There's magnets. There's that. You don't want to just put that right there like that. Very difficult to get off because they're super strong. Put some cloth or some bubble wrap even in between the magnet and the plate, and then they're easier to get off. Right there like that. See, just have some stabilizer in between it. Now it'll be a little easier to separate the magnet off of the hoop. Allison, you know what I'm talking about, the henna stuff. I don't even have a clue what that is, to be perfectly honest. Oh gosh, Racer Girl. Yeah, so my dermatologist prescribed this medicated shampoo. It's got ketozoicaine or something like that in it. I have that I use, and then plus a keto whatever cream that I can apply. It's a cream in a tube that I apply, and it does help, but you have to do it every day to get one of the flare ups to go down. But it is what it is. What it is. Embracer girl, I like to go barefoot also, still to this day. I try not to pick at it because it formed on my ear, especially specifically this ear right here on my left ear is the one that's really affected by it. But it'll get little little granule things on it and a blister. Right now, I have a small blister in behind my ear, right up next to the earlobe. It can be really painful, but it is what it is. All that stuff helps. I know I've heard of them using henna. Interesting, Allison. I've heard of them using henna like for henna tattoos. I think that's still a big thing over in Asia and places like that. Wow. I know it's a struggle, Racer Girl. Well, just know you're not alone. And hooey, I know that's rough. Oh, I feel for you. I really do. But we all have our little we all have our things that we each have to cope with, and that's just part of it, I guess. Patsy. Yeah, so I'm gonna now what I've got they prescribed for me in prescription strength is 2%, but you can buy a 1% solution of it over the counter, and I almost did that through Amazon. Hold on. I'm gonna show you what I've got. I'll be right back. Okay. So this is what my dermatologist prescribed for me for my dermatitis. Let's see here. Right there, you can see it says 2%. Let me take this off. Oops. This is called ketoconazole shampoo. This can actually, I use it just like like a liquid soap. I'll put it in my hands, treat my scalp, my ears, and my face with it. Leave it on for 3 to 5 minutes and then rinse it off. And then morning and night, this is cream in a tube. And what these look like, this has really made a difference with me. It has helped. It'll never go completely away, but it helps. But there's what it looks like right there. Okay. But that's what has helped me with this. That's right, Allison. We have all survived the last few years, and that's not everyone can say that. And I mean that with all sincerity. But yes, the cream really does help. It really does. And it has made a difference with me. Now, you can order this, the shampoo stuff, right off of Amazon, but it's a 1% strength. By prescription is a 2% strength. But you can get this over the counter. But the over the counter strength is half as strong as what you get from a dermatologist. I hope that made sense. But sometimes, everybody, if you see me wearing a hat or one of these, I got these little caps you wear under a bicycling helmet off of Amazon. But when you see me wearing one of these, you'll know that I have a breakout up here on my forehead and I'm trying to cover it up. That's what I use these for. They're very comfy, and I'm not trying to push stuff on Amazon, but I think I got 5 of these in 5 different colors for like $9.99 or something. And they're cool, moisture wicking, they're very stretchy. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. To do so, Racer Girl, I think I can only attest to what it has done. There's another cream this was prescribed by the dermatologist, and then my general practitioner prescribed let me show you this one other tube of stuff that I use. I use it in conjunction. Okay. The other cream that I use also with the keto, I'm just going to call it keto cream, this stuff, this right here. This is the other thing that's been prescribed for me. So when I get out of the shower in the morning, I put this on. And then after it soaks in and dries, I'll put a layer of this on it. And what that looks like, it's all a tube cream. In conjunction, they seem, depends how bad the outbreak is. There's what it looks like right there. And that's just a 1% solution. That's prescription. triamcinolone acetonate. Anyway, that's what it is. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But that has made, those things is what has made a difference in my journey with that. Oh my gosh. Wonderful. Oh, thank you, Racer. I like cats. Always have. Well, I didn't plan on getting off on that that topic tonight, but if my experience can help anybody in any way, I'm more than happy to share what my experience has been. So, everybody, that's what I have for you tonight. I'm going to log off of here and actually go take a shower and medicate myself. So, everyone, have a wonderful rest of your evening and a glorious weekend. I have some binding I have to get done, so I am going to attempt to go live while I'm doing it. I think I can, but there won't be a set schedule for that. I'm just going to go live while I'm working and sewing and attaching binding. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Racer Girls, talking does help. We're all in it together. And hey, if you ever need someone to talk to, chat me up. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you all very soon. Bye, everybody. Love y'all. Bye.